Mike Coppinger gets called out for his supposed media lynching of Gervonta Tank Davis. Somebody writes an article on it. I'm going to read it to you, then I'm going to give you my commentary at the end. ESPN boxing and MMA reporter Mike Coppinger wrote about the arrest. In his article, he slipped in a comment regarding the proceedings for PBC and Showtime to possibly pull Davis from the bout. However, Coppinger did write about the retraction of the allegations, but then he unnecessarily wrote a follow-up article. Damn. So even after Gervonta Davis' baby mama came out and she took it all back, this guy proceeded to write another article. I didn't know that. Okay. The follow-up article was based on the arrest history of Gervonta Davis, in which Coppinger made a timeline of the incidents from 19 to 2022. Boxing fans took to social media to voice their opinion in regards to the lack of class that Mike Coppinger displayed by publishing an article that seemed like a pointless attack against Davis. Well, that's because that's what it was. The fact that Mike Coppinger would publish this type of article after the accuser recanted her claim is a sign of a writer who is trying to push a narrative. And it also gives the appearance that Coppinger has some type of personal animosity towards Davis. Boxing fans didn't appreciate the move because they believe Coppinger was pushing an agenda to get Davis pulled from the fight. The fans made a move of their own as they made a aggressive suggestion on their post to cancel all their subscription to ESPN and shit. Y'all late. Ben did that. To cancel their prescription to ESPN unless the network fired Coppinger. They don't need to fire Coppinger. Go ahead and keep him. And shit, because they ain't getting my money then, now, or ever. Fans are upset due to the fact that ESPN writer used his platform to extensively cover this particular story about Davis. Fans have pointed out the fact that Coppinger hasn't shown the same type of energy in reporting on stories such as the incident involving Sergey Kovalev, Jojo Diaz. Coppinger isn't a stranger when it comes to tension in the boxing community. He has experienced controversial moments with other members of the boxing fraternity. After knocking out Brian Castano in May 2022, Jermell Charlo went on a rant as Coppinger attempted to ask a question at the post-press conference. Charlo seemed to be agitated at the sight of Coppinger as he proceeded to call the reporter a hater. I had no idea that he was talking about Coppinger, but you know what? It all makes sense. So basically, in a nutshell, what Mike Coppinger did was so obvious that somebody had to write an article about it because you just couldn't ignore it at the end of the day. You know? And it begs the question why somebody like Mike Coppinger has not spoke on Dana White's situation, him or Chris Mannix, but he was so passionate and had so much to say. And as I just read, and I didn't know, that he even put out another article right after Gervonta Davis' baby mother recanted and took everything back. This man decides to write another article right after she basically clears the air and say he doesn't do anything. Yes, that's clearly intentional, but why were they so gun-ho with it? And I'm going to tell you why this looks worse and why they don't give a damn about no DV. You know, for those who don't know, that's domestic violence. You know, they don't give a damn about that. And we're finna prove it right here and right now. Number one, if you cared about the situation and if it wasn't something personal, you would have no problem reporting on this subject or this issue with everybody. You would keep the same energy with everybody. And this is the new excuse. It's a business thing. You know, I'm like, okay, so if you're telling me that the reason that they're not speaking about Dana White is because they have a contract with him or they're doing business with him or because he has a lot of money or whatever and whatnot, Do you not know that that solely proves that they don't give a damn about domestic violence? That it could be overlooked simply for money. And if it can be overlooked simply because of money, or you have a contract with a person, then all that stuff that you're putting in, proclaiming that you care, is false. Because all it takes is somebody with the sway in the pool of Dana White, and you guys will turn a blind eye to domestic violence, which in return shows us that you really don't care about domestic violence, because you could turn the blind eye if you have a contract with this person, or this person has a lot of money sitting over there. So it shows that you directly do not really care about domestic violence. Because given the person in the right position, they can get you to look the other way. So do you really care as much as you say that you're caring? Obviously not. So if you don't care like that, well, why can't you just look the other way, or pipe down when it comes to somebody else? The point is, ESPN didn't have to go out of their way. Mike Coppinger didn't have to go out of their way. Chris Mannix didn't have to go out of their way to do what they did. They could have simply gave it the same amount of energy and attention that they gave Dana White in this situation. And I'm going to tell you why it looks even worse that they didn't. And this is the super nail in the coffin. I've already told you that the MMA world has the most domestic violence cases out of any other sport. So when you get basically the president of the sport gets caught up in the same scandal that the MMA fighters get caught in, that outweigh every other sports organization, if you're really having a problem with domestic violence, this is one of the biggest examples that you can to show that your disdain and your dislike for it and your want to put a stop with it by at least grilling or putting the president of the organization who has the most domestic violence on blast for domestic violence. If you really cared about domestic violence. Now, don't that make sense? If the MMA has more domestic violence than boxing, why are you talking about this boxer but ignoring the president of the organization that has the most domestic violence? That makes absolutely no sense, which shows us directly everything that they did about Gervonta Tank Davis was intentional, and they don't care two shits about anybody getting hit up beside their head. That's all that proves. Like, comment, subscribe, I'm out.